Hello everyone, my name is Sophia, and today we're going to be solving this LeetCode challenge 136 of finding the single number. Now, before we proceed with the coding, let's first read the problem and understand what exactly we're dealing with. So given a non-empty array of integers, nums, every element appears twice except for one. Find the single one. You must implement a solution with a linear runtime complexity and use only constant extra space. So assuming that we can be guaranteed that there will be not like there will be at least one single number in the array and that it will not be empty, of course. If we look at the examples, like example 1 is the only single number in the array. 4 is also the only single number in the array in the second example, and in the third example 1 is of course the only single array there. Okay. So, thinking back about maybe some other problems that may look similar to this, maybe you have encountered in your coding or Python class about finding the duplicate number in a specific array. Maybe it was about like either finding how many times the number was duplicated, or even just finding the duplicate number in and of itself. It's somewhat like that, but in this case, we are only finding, instead of finding for the duplicate number, it's a little bit reverse. We have to find a number that is not being duplicated. And so if you have done these type of problems of finding the duplicate number, many would suggest to use like maybe like a sublist and using a variable as seen to see how many times that this number in the array has been duplicated, or simply you can just use a dictionary and then upgrade its value, which is the number of times this number has appeared already in the array. So with that in mind, I'm going to use my personal solution, which is just using a dictionary. And in this case, because I want us to solve this problem in linear time, we only need to be required to use only one single for loop, which is what we're going to do. So with everything said, let's get started on like solving the actual problem. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create a dictionary one, right? And if you know what a dictionary is, it's like a list, but the difference between a dictionary and a list is that a dictionary has both a key and a value, and the both are connected into like one single item essentially, right? Into one single index. So with that said, we're going to create an empty dictionary called dictionary1. I'm also going to now start my for loop to go over all of the numbers that are in nums. So for I in nums, right? I is specifically going to go through, let's look at the first example. I is going to go through 2, 2, and 1 because those are the values that we're dealing with, at least in the first, if we were to think of the first example. So let's write that here, 2, 2, and 1. So first I is going to go through 2, and then it's going to go through 2 again, and then it's going to go through 1. Okay. And so this is, and now we have to create our conditions here. This like to see how many times that the number is being duplicated, or at least seen again in the array, right? So if I were to write, if I in dictionary 1, right, that's implying that the key I is our key, right? Every number that I is going to go through in the array is going to be the key. And if the key is already there in the dictionary, then that means that that number is already being duplicated. And so we can increase that value, because, and another thing is that the value is also going to be the number of times that we see the number in the array. So let's write that down real quick. Okay. Value is number of times the number is seen in array. And the key in the dictionary will be, the key is the numbers of the array. Okay? Just so we're clear on our objective goal. So if the key is already in dictionary 1, then that means it's already being duplicated, and we can simply increase its value. So understanding Python syntax, the dictionary dictionary I, which is the key, we're going to increase its value by 1. That means that it's already being duplicated. That means it's being like duplicated already like another time. Just like how we see here, 2 is duplicated like 2 times, right? And so else, because if the key is not already there in the dictionary, then if it's just appearing 1 time, then we can just leave the value as 1. Dictionary 1 equals 1. Right, because that implies that this is the first time that we're seeing this number, and for all we know, this could be the only time this number ever appears in the array, right? And so with that, we have our dictionary set, which is going to look something like this. So our dictionary 1 is going to look like 2, like at the end of the for loop, 2, 2. So you integer 2, which appears like 2 times. The 2 right here is the value of how many times 2 appears, and we're going to have 1, the key being 1, and 1, of course, as we can see, appears like 1 time. Okay. So we already finished with our first for loop, and we want to keep it that way because we do want to solve this in linear time, and because we're using a for loop, this will cause like already like all of n time. So the last thing we want to do, so finally, we want to be able to come up with a solution so that we can maybe use like all of one time, so that we don't have to keep on like increasing the run time as it is. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to try to find, okay, how about I find which key has a value of 1, because the key that has a value with 1 is going to be that one number in the array that only appears once. And so with that, I'm going to construct two lists, key list and value list. The goal with these lists is that I don't think there's a specific there's not a specific function in Python where I can get like the value of the dictionary and then to be able to pull a key afterwards. So instead, what we can do is that we can simply create a key list and a value list, and the index of the value list, wherever 1 is going to match the index to which we're going to get our actual like number of the key list. Let me demonstrate what I mean. So let's create, so key list is we're going to use our list converter here and use dictionary.1.keys. Okay, and value list dot values. Okay. So now what I'm going to do here is that with the key list is going to look something like this. So of course we only have like 2. We're only going to have like 2 keys. In this case, just 1 and 2. Key list. This is what our key list is going to look like. And our value list is going to look like this. More so the same, right? Because 2 is appearing 2 times and 1 is appearing 1 time. I hope it's not too much of a confusing example, but you can try this again with the other examples that we provided here. Okay, but the point of this is, like I mentioned before, we want to try to find like maybe like use like the index here, like the value list. We want to try to find the index of where like 1 appears, and that index is always going to match the same index of the value in which 1 only appears 1 time. And so to do that, we can finally just say like return key list with the index of value list. Let's see, value list, dot index 1. And so essentially what's going on here is that because we want to find, of course, like the number that appears only once being our value, what's going to happen here is that the 1 is going to return to us like the index in the value, which to where like 1 only into the number 1 only appears. And so here value list is going to return as 1. And so when we substitute like value list.index1 is to 1, then we will have key list index with index 1. And if we look here, we have 2 which starts at 0 and 1 which starts at 1, which will give us our final result, which is exactly 1. And that's exactly how we solve the problem. And let's now like try to run this code to see if all the solutions work. Accepted. Okay, now let's actually submit. And we have successfully did this problem in good amount of time. Okay. Thank you everybody. I hope this was very helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.